Actually, that was Senator Cory Booker, who just announced that he was running for the presidency of the United States. It is reigning candidates here on The View, and we are honored that he has decided to make this the very first live TV stop at the Hot Topics table. So please welcome Senator Cory Booker. So, before I ask you the first question, I do have to say that some of us were tripped up when we walked in and saw your brother sitting there.
He is the better booker.
Is he a twin?
We could serve as a stunt double, but no, he is older. Don't get it twisted.
And of course, and your mom.
And more importantly, he and I, my mother. My mother.
Which brings me to the question, so why did you decide to run?
I think all of us know that so many Americans are losing faith in this country's ability to work for them. People are feeling left out, left behind. And I think a lot of folks are beginning to feel that the forces that are tearing us apart in this country are stronger than the forces that tie us together. I don't believe that. And so I'm running to restore our sense of common purpose, to focus on the common pain that we have all over this country. We can do better, and I'm going to be in it to try to show folks that when we come together, when we stand together, when we work together, there's nothing we can't do.
So, sounds good.
I appreciate that. Coming from you.
Sounds good. So you are very good friends with Kamala Harris and also Kirsten Gillibrand, right? Who have also thrown their hats into the ring. So how is Cory Booker different from those two people?
First of all, they are friends, they are sisters, there'll be some sibling rivalry, but at the end of the day, we're family.
He's got better hair.
Look, I've spent my entire career running at problems that other people said that couldn't be solved. You know, when I left Yale Law School, I went right into an inner city to take on slumlords with incredible tenant activists, and we beat them. I ran for mayor of a tough city at a time that our country was in economic freefall, when people were demeaning inner cities and degrading them. And now our city is seeing its best days of economic development, housing, our schools. So my conviction is that we can do impossible things when we come together. Even in Washington right now, this rampant cynicism, but even in this last Congress, reaching across the aisle, working with people, we began to dismantle mass incarceration. I passed...
But let me interrupt you, because my question is, how are you different from them? They say similar things.
Well, again, my record, I think when I have a chance to put it before people, they're going to see a very different, sort of not usual path in politics. And where I live, you know, I still live in the Central Ward of Newark, New Jersey. The only senator that goes home to a community that's, you know, still a low-income community, inner city community.
And they don't.
I'm not saying that they don't. I'm just saying that my pathway, the battles I've taken on, the things that people say other people can't do, to me, it's really what my mom challenged me to do as a kid. She just said, look, you have a debt to pay back, and you can't really pay it back. You got to pay it forward. And so I'm proud of not only who I am and my conviction, but this is a time where too many people, I think, are trying to pit people against each other, where the Democratic Party, I don't want it to be defined by what we're against, but by what we're for. I don't want it to be defined by beating Republicans, but by uniting Americans.
All right.
You know, Senator, I believe right now in this particular moment that authenticity is actually the most valuable political currency anyone can have. And you have gotten some criticism for grandstanding during your performance during televised hearings. It's been interpreted that way. SNL actually parodies you for this reason. How do you convince people, especially on the left, that you're authentic and that you're not a phony, especially during this time and this isn't just, you know, sort of a political stunt, if you will?
Well, you can't speak to authenticity. No, you've just got to be who you are, and there are going to be critics all the time. My focus is putting...
Sarah Palin was parodied on SNL, and it turned into a reality. And so there's a power in that as well.
Well, again, I've lived my life committed to focusing on the issues that matter to people. and taking on problems that many people said couldn't be done. From inner city education, Newark is now the #1 city in America for beat the odds schools, high poverty, high performance. You go to those school children and ask if that's an authentic change. It is.
Yeah.
If you look in Washington right now, you know, we have a horrific system of mass incarceration. 1 out of every 3 incarcerated women on the planet Earth are right here in the United States of America. I went to work on that problem, took years to get this bill together, and finally we now, in fact, I met with Matthew Charles this week, one of the first people released, righteously so. So these are authentic changes. It's about what you do. Let my works speak for me.
You know, I traveled.
You know, just to that point, SNL parodies a lot of people, and Sarah Palin's the only one who really got burned.
But what I think is, and I respect what I hear what you're saying about.
Speaking for a friend.
Well, but it's a genuine question.
Yeah.
And by the way, it's criticism that's from the left as well. And I hear what you're saying, and it all sounds great. And I understand what you're saying about your record. But I do think there's something to be said when I think of you now, I think of I Am Spartacus. And that, I don't know if is the best reflection of you.
Well, I hope people go back and watch that whole clip, because even that was twisted. What we do in this culture right now, it's a tear-down culture. The truth doesn't even really matter, and I hope you'll go back and watch the Kavanaugh hearings. That was one of my prouder moments, sticking up for people. And when I was threatened to be thrown out of the Senate, I told the senator that did that, bring it. Another senator stood up and said, if you're going to throw Cory Booker out, throw me into the pit as well. And that senator, I looked at them and I said, wow, that's like an I Am Spartacus moment. He stepped forward and said, anything that happens to Cory happens to me.
Who was that?
It's Senator Dick Durbin, who was a righteous man.
Yeah.
And what I'm saying right now, that's the problem with our culture, is that these snippets, we have people getting more and more ratings by tearing down the other people.
Yeah.
That's not how I'm going to run this campaign. If you're tired of that kind of bitterness, of that kind of trash talking, that kind of trolling, that kind of politics that is just a race to the bottom in our country, then don't support me. Because I'm not in this race to tear people down. I'm in this race to try to build our nation up.
I traveled much of middle of the country, and I talked to voters, and not all Republicans, independents, even Democrats, who said, I'm voting for Trump this time because I've been the forgotten person. He came here, he spoke to me. I like his economic message. You're going to have to win over those voters, and a number of them feel like their life isn't worse. They may not like everything the president says, but they have food on the table for their family. 300,000 new jobs were just added last month, which smashed records.
That's after 8 years, just by the way.
No,
Growth.
that's
Yeah, I'm just saying, it's been coming, that's all.
I don't disagree.
Yeah.
The economy is a much broader conversation. I'm talking about where we are right now, though, and people are thinking about their daily lives.
Well,
How do you change their minds?
You and I travel the same country, and look, there's a lot of pain out there in America, and a lot of fear, and it's not, no party has a monopoly on that hurt. There are people checking out from politics, giving up on politics. That cynicism exists from inner cities to suburbs to farm towns to factory towns. There is a lot of pain. And the challenge is, for us as Americans, with a little bit more courageous empathy, recognize that this is a common pain, that we're all in this together. If you put off seeing a doctor because you can't afford it, that's not a Republican or Democratic pain. That's right now hurting in America. If you work in a full-time job in this country and still can't make ends meet, have more month at the end of your money than money at the end of your month, that's an American pain. There's over 1,000 jurisdictions in this country where children have a higher blood lead level than Flint, Michigan. They can find unleaded gasoline more easily than unleaded water. That's not a Republican problem or a Democrat problem. That's an American problem.
But couldn't Trump say 2 years in, I've made your life better? The unemployment is...
Listen, the problem is what's happening right now is people are thinking that we're going to win this by demonizing each other. What I'm going out there to say is we have a common pain in this country, but we've lost our sense of common purpose. And to solve our problems, we have got to come together. Look, my mom was reminding me, you know, this is Black History Month, just started. She did a sit-in in Virginia and taught me very early on that when we were trying to move into our house and we couldn't move in because of the color of our skin where I grew up, it was blacks and whites, Christians, Jews, Democrats and Republicans that worked together higher.
That woman's going to have a history if you don't let her go to break.
And I want to say that that's what we've got to do in this country is bring people together again.
You know. We're coming back.